hello.
Hello, can you hear and see me?
Yes, we can hear you and see you. You look wonderful. I haven't seen you more than 2 years, girl.
Yes, I know. But I still know always what you're doing. That's the beauty with all these social medias.
Wow. We just started talking. Yuma was just telling me about her business. They have been struggling to actually build up a business plan, but her business is about taking the problems of the society, but looking at how the nature solves certain problems and try to link it to the day-to-day running of human beings. And she's saying they have been struggling with a business plan, and I just wanted her to share more while we are waiting to start. Is that okay?
That's okay, yes.
Perfect. Yuma, please go ahead.
Sure, okay. So, yeah, I was telling you about the one business that we're starting, which is the nonprofit Biomimicry for Africa Foundation, which is just looking at educating people to know what biomimicry is and that there are solutions around us this whole time. And then the other one is Sinera, which is the for-profit business, which is looking at how businesses can incorporate nature's principles to be more sustainable, but also work together with other businesses cooperatively for the benefit of all businesses. But also, you know, in that there's like a whole lot of things that all organisms do, like they recycle all the materials and stuff. So we also want to like create a circular economy by helping each business build themselves up in a way that is more resilient. Yeah. So that's me.
Sounds wonderful and exciting too. And she's Dagmar, she's only 24 years old.
Okay. Yeah, age has nothing to do with coming up with absolutely great ideas.
Absolutely. Please stay tuned. Dagmar has been, I'm sure you might have gone to her website. She has been raising for funds for quite a lot of organization and in different spectrum. Dagmar, would you please also, when we finish the presentation, try to just be low pace. I will try to raise questions and some I will type so that we can make it as engaging as possible. But also at the end, please offer them something nice. I know you are running the online training now. It's no longer even face-to-face, so it doesn't matter where the person is, so that we can be able to allow more people to actually understand how, because there is definitely money out there.
I totally believe that. Yes, always.
So are we ready to start? We're about to start now.
Do you want us to start? We can do that. Yes.
Cool.
Okay, so what I will do is I just like to use my mic. The sound is a little bit better with it. And I just need then to unplug if somebody has some questions. Is this okay?
No problem.
Okay, so let me see that I share my presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, thank you. We can see it. And I'm going to be making notes and questions. Let me know when you're ready with questions.
Okay, so I don't know if somebody has some questions and you can see them, Precious. I don't mind answering them in between.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Great.
Yeah? Okay. Did you share that already now on your page, on your Facebook page?
Yes, we have. We've already shared it on the Facebook page. It's already running. So they should be able to see the stuff and myself.
Yeah. Okay, because what I can do is I then share that on my page. Then we have some more people watching us. I just posted like it is. Let me see. Great, and shared. Okay, so Maybe I just talk a little bit about myself. I always forget that. I usually like to dive directly into the proper topics. My name is Dagmar Breiling. I'm here now for over 11 years in South Africa. And we assist companies accessing loans and grants. We do that by drafting professional business plans. We determine which funds the ventures qualify for, and then we are also able to assist with the whole application process. What my colleague here now prepared for me is an overview about how a business plan should be structured, and I will always in between tell a little bit of stories. I'm reading 2 to 3 business plans a day. So I can always say, okay, this is something what I always see what people are doing wrong, and this is how you should do that. Precious will watch for me if you have some questions in between. If you are on Facebook, just write in the comments. If you are on Zoom, if you scroll down with your mouse, you will see there is something coming up like chat, and you can ask your questions there. If you're watching on Funding Connection Facebook page, I will check the questions at the end, because otherwise that is a little bit too much to handle.
Great.
Okay.
This is wonderful. We're having more people joining us on Facebook, and we're also recording it, Dagmar. We'll share with the platform. So please go ahead and take us through.
Okay, so I think the first thing is to be absolutely clear for what you need a business plan. And some people need that. That's most of the time when they come to us, they really need that because they want to raise funding and finance. So you definitely, of course, need to have that then in mind, that the business plan is for potential investors. And there is no difference if it is a commercial bank, institution, or some private equity partners. They all will have look at the same things, and at the end of the day they want to see that your business is profitable. Okay. Hello. But even if you don't need to raise finance, I always highly recommend going through the exercise of drafting a business plan, because starting a business is like a big puzzle, and there are lots of different parts, and sometimes you have some more clarity about this one part, but you don't really know how everything fits together. And it usually helps you a little bit really to get clarity. Okay, so the next thing is what people usually start is with the executive summary. That's totally wrong. Please do me a favor, write the executive summary at the end.
By the way, Dagmar, that is usually the templates. People just take the templates of some system somewhere, and the executive summary is the first page.
Yes, and in the first, when you start, you are not even clear about everything, so you write all the nonsense. Because why do you have an executive summary? If you go and apply for finance, there are usually different steps. Okay, so the first person who gets this sees, okay, which industry are you in? Is it a startup? Is it an expansion? What product do you want to offer? How much funding do you need? And all these things should be in there so that the first assessment can be done without somebody reading the full business plan and say, okay, this is for this department, this is for this manager. And they get a good idea about what you want to do.
So what should be on the first page then?
The executive summary should say, okay, so number one is who's the applicant, company XYZ, PTY, they want to do be in agriculture and start a macadamia nut farm. So it is a startup. and they need 3 million rand, and they have some off-take agreements in place already, and they have some collateral in place. That's it. Overview about what the financiers really need from you. Yeah, and if you can say, hey, there's an experienced farmer who is doing that, even better.
Would you have an example that you can share with us on your screen right now of what should be that first page look like, Dagmar?
No,
I will put that as a question for now. Maybe when we are engaging, we can try to see. Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
Yes, Precious, what I'm doing at the moment, it's not 100% finished. I wrote something and asked my 3 business plan writers also to put some input in it. We developed, let's say, template with tips and tricks. And it is not online at the moment, but you will then in next week definitely see that either way on my website. I ask people then to sign up for my newsletter, and then you will definitely get the link for that. Or I can share the link also with you on your Facebook page.
Perfect. Please do that so that they can subscribe when those templates are coming through. Because what I have found with most areas, Dagmar, has been entrepreneurs themselves need just to learn to put the stuff together first before they even send to the person who's going to technically put it together, so that they have a clear understanding, what activities am I going to do, how do I intend to, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to be running this business.
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, so all our clients are running their business. We are there to guide them, but the decisions are always done by the business owner. I can't make the decisions for anybody.
Yes, great, thank you. Okay, so then the next one.
So under executive summary, what you also can do then your mission, your vision, and maybe some keys to success, short and crisp. But this is something where somebody gets maybe a little bit clarity about why you want to do something. It's not really a critical part in a business plan. What is again critical is that the financier definitely wants to know exactly who's the applicant. That would be usually the registered company. South Africa is crazy about a registered company. As a sole proprietor, you have really problems to apply for finance. They want to know exactly who are the shareholders, their ID numbers, their percentage. That is important.
Okay, on that note, Dagmar, what I wanted to find out, so are you saying for me to apply for my business, I generally will need to actually have a registered business? Most funders are not funding sole propriety businesses or partnership businesses. Yes.
You need to have a PTY or a CC in South Africa.
Perfect, great, thank you. Okay, good. Go ahead, Dagmar, we're with you.
Okay, so now we go into details. Now you start with your products and services. What I always discuss, and I've seen that lots of time, please make it simple and easy. If your business model is too complicated and too complex, number one, it makes it absolutely difficult later on to sell anything, because if you are not able to explain in 1 or 2 sentences what you want to offer, you are losing potential customers. Because then they say, okay, so I'm not too sure. What are they doing? That's so complicated. Okay, so no. It's the same thing with financiers. They want to be absolutely clear about what products do you want to offer, what services are you offering, and then of course also what is your pricing, what is your costing. And if sometimes I see that people say, okay, I do catering, agriculture, farming, some chickens and cleaning and you are not an expert then. You are an expert in nothing, and you are not able to sell later on. And that's also something what financiers are absolutely aware of.
So we are saying if I'm choosing to be in one sector, I should be saying I'm in cleaning business. Then I scale it down and say, I do industrial cleaning. I then do maybe under industrial, I focus in the health sector. So that is clear that I understand and know what business am I in. So I can't then come back and say, I do facility management, plant and so even though it's a correlated service under facilities, it then dilutes what is my core business is.
Yes, specifically if you are in, let's say you're concentrating on cleaning and clinics, you need exactly to know what you are doing because it's critical also for the hospitals, okay? And if you now offer everything that shows already that you have no clue.
Hey, you know, Dagmar, I think this is a big one. Most entrepreneurs in South Africa, this is the key problem. They're doing way too many things. Whereas when you're saying you want to do cleaning, are you doing health or are you doing commercial offices or are you doing just maybe schools? They generally will try, they will say they're doing cleaning for everything.
Yes, for households and commercial, and I lots of times also see that if somebody wants to manufacture, they want to sell to end users, they sell to retailers, they sell to wholesalers, and they are not focused enough, because out of a sudden when you concentrate and say I do, let's say, cleaning specifically in the health industry, like for doctors and clinics and hospitals, you know exactly who you also know what is your target market, because out of a sudden you can name your target market. Go that deep, and if you position yourself so clearly.
Okay, that is clear. We are with you. We understand. So it's not just saying I'm doing cleaning services. Who are you cleaning for?
Yes. And then, of course, one of the parts, when you start and compiling your business plan, you need to think about who do I know? Okay, so maybe you know a couple of people in this health sector and industry, and you can talk to them. And you can then do, I always say, go there and do a market research, because that's usually easier for people, and say, you know what, I want to do cleaning, I want to specialize in hospitals. Can you give me any tips? How much do they pay usually per square meters or per bed, or I don't really know how this is working. But you get then some clear information also from your contacts out of a sudden. And then you can go somewhere and say, this is what I want to do, this is what I offer, this is my price. Now you can ask for some even off-take agreements.
Now this is where also there's always a problem, where people are running businesses or they have established a business and they are looking for funding, and there is a demand, but there is there's a supply, but there is no show of the demand, the off-take agreements.
Yes. Off-take agreements are not really complicated. I've got a couple of times that my clients always say, that's all, it's just one sentence. But it needs to be on the letterhead of your potential customer and stating, as soon as company Precious Pty Ltd is ready, I will use her services, and I will order 1,000 units per month of whatever this company is offering for a price of, let's say, 5,000 Rand per unit.
So Dagmar, this is similar to letters of intent, is it?
Yeah, it's similar, but letter of intent says usually as soon as the company Precious Pty is ready, we will buy from them. It usually doesn't have the quantity, okay, how many units per month, and it usually doesn't have the price.
I like that. Perfect. This is so good. Even myself, I'm learning here.
That's good. I like that. Okay, so and even off-take agreement is not binding. It's still number one. It shows there's a demand for 1,000 units. Okay, because I've seen it so many times that people say, "Oh, I'm sure I can sell 100,000 units per month." But there is not even, the market is not able to absorb the 100,000 units because the demand is not there. Yeah, so you can prove that. And even if this one company later on decides, no, I don't take it, your chances to find another company they will buy these units and for a realistic price are higher than if you only have a letter of intent, because then you don't really know how much units the market requires. Yeah?
Perfect. Great.
Okay, so under product and services, definitely if you are manufacturing, make sure the production process is included, you are clear about it, the location needs to be clear, you need to have an offer to lease or an offer to purchase. If you want to start a business, please always try to lease the building. Don't invest any money into brick and mortar. It's wasted money because it doesn't give you the return on investment. Yeah?
So my rule, okay, so Dagmar on that, so I also advise the clients exactly the same, because I generally say to them, we are not in a business of lending or renting. So why should your business absorb such a big cost? The business should be focusing on the cost that directly help you to sell more than actually having to invest so much on something that is not your core business. So
Yes.
and because you're trying to help them to actually rather they buy and focus on just delivering the product to the customer.
Yes, yes. Okay. And also, worst case scenario is your business is shut down. Okay. So you go into insolvency, and then getting out of a lease agreement is faster and easier and cheaper for you than out of a sudden having now this big building where you still need to pay each and every month to repay for the building. Yeah, it's just most big corporates also do that. They start with buying property when they are established and know we are paying at the moment 70,000 Rand a month on rental. If you use the 70,000 Rand a month, we are then able to pay for the property, or even a little bit. It's usually more at the end of the day what you pay. But then it makes sense. Do that in the second or third step of your company growth. Yeah?
Great. Thank you so much.
Let me quickly see. Okay, so Yuma, I just see there are some questions. She says, number one, thanks. Is Regus office acceptable for a location? Yes, I think Regus is usually quite expensive. But if you need to be flexible and you want to grow, then it's the right way to start a little bit smaller. You can quickly add some more offices to it and then decide later on, okay, let's rent somewhere else a bigger office. Yeah.
Okay, Dagmar, I have another one where
Yes, please.
I have a client whom I had advised them to start acquiring the assets. Okay, let me give you some scenario, maybe so that we can make this a practical and a vibrant. So
Yes.
This client, the nature of the business, they provide technical services of maintaining service stations, but they generate quite close to 8 million a year. the challenge that I have found with them, they didn't have cash, but the business was profitable, but only to find that actually some of the cash is absorbed because they end up with too much cash and not do anything and end up using it. But now, then you need to start thinking about what's the long-term investment. But also what I was saying to them is that right now, Business Partners is offering businesses that are sustainable to actually buy property so that they can boost their balance sheet. So it's also by just looking at what does your business nature do, instead of paying someone for a rental of 12,000 and you could be paying that 12,000 on a bond for the property that you actually own. You know, so I'm of the view that for a business that is well established, that is starting to build up a balance sheet, owning a property is quite good, because property diversify also your risk in your business. So you're no longer only just focusing on your own core business, but you are able to then to say, you know what, I have an asset that I'm building on, especially for professional services, especially for businesses that you generally would not have a strong balance sheet.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it definitely makes sense, but that's the second or the third step in your growth of your business. Don't do that for a startup.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Great. We have answered all the questions that have been asked. Please, guys, pop the questions even on the Facebook or on there. We will be attending to them, and we're here to assist. It's not just me and Dagmar to discuss. If you want to talk, raise your hand. We do allow people to talk during this, because we want to help you guys. There is so much money out there. Oh Lord, Dagmar, you're gonna cover that just now. Go ahead.
Okay, so under product and services, so we covered the location, and then please also, I see that so many times and I always need to smile. Under pricing and business plans, I see we will be 10% cheaper than the competition. Okay, so now you need to imagine somebody comes to you and says, I want this 2 liters of Coke. You tell them, I will be 10% cheaper than my competition. So they go to Pick and Pay, see how much the price is there, say it's 15 Rand, then they come back to you and say, now I want to have it 15 Rand minus 10%. That's not going to happen. Okay. You also can't expect, of course, the financier to do that for you. That is your job. Yeah. Number one is you need to have a clear price list for all your products and services, what you want to offer. Number two is, as a startup, please never ever be cheaper than your competition. Yeah.
I think that has to be a bomb to everyone. When I teach pricing, people don't understand that pricing is not cost plus margin. It's actually price equal to the value proposition. If I have a better value than Pick and Pay, surely I should be paid more. And I think people have to start understanding that price is just an exchange of the value that and the problem that you are solving.
Yes, yes. I always recommend, Precious, to have, of course, a clear understanding about your cost and then your minimum margin, because specifically if you are for bigger items, for equipment or machinery or for services out there, you need to know exactly how much you're willing to negotiate prices. Okay, if there is a product or service for 150,000 Rand, you need to know exactly, okay, I need so many hours, I can't go under 90,000 Rand, otherwise I'm walking away from this in any case. You also need, you have two price, I always recommend having two calculations, and then have a look of what your competition is charging.
Competition analysis, where you have a list of your product, at least 3 or 4 competitors, to show the founder that you actually are at the par with the market.
Yes, yes, okay. So that you're not selling your Coke for 25 Rand in a retail store and you know that everybody else is selling it for 15 Rand. And I also want to explain the reason. Number one is if you're the cheapest in the market, you're attracting clients. They only look for the cheapest in the market. And as soon as somebody else is coming out there, they will leave you. And let me tell you, if you are handling these customers, they are only looking for cheap prices. They are usually quite difficult.
So they are not necessarily there because of the value you're bringing. They're just there for the price. The moment someone comes in who's cheaper, they will then be taking that person.
Yes, yes. And they're usually difficult to handle.
Wow.
We call them star clients. And we try not to take them on.
I think that should be lesson to all the entrepreneurs. That fighting or getting into the market by reducing the price, you basically are the one who's kicking yourself in the butt, because then you're not going to be able to cover your operational expenses.
Yeah,
and the funder also is not going to see the profits, which is the reason why they will even invest in your business.
Yes, yes. And you need to be confident enough when you want to start your business. I'm sure you know exactly what you are doing. You are good at what you are doing. So don't undersell yourself. Great. I've got that so many times I had last week a lady in my office and she said, oh no, I can't charge so much because I'm a lady and I have 3 kids. I said, but this,
how does that have anything to do with the price?
Nothing, nothing. In her head was, yes, my husband is providing for me, so this is just some fun money and that's why I'm not with it. And I told her that's absolutely bullshit.
But isn't that also about the mindset as entrepreneurs, that we think and believe that, you know what, because I am just doing this on the side, I am therefore not worth to charge what I have put in?
No, you are an expert in what you're doing, charge properly. Because otherwise nobody will respect you. And like I said, you attract the difficult clients you don't want.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad I am in this training program, because I need also to relook at my pricing. Thank you, Dagmar. No, please go ahead.
So we can set up something and then just discuss things. I love to do these things. I just do that usually on the side, and just because I'm passionate about that. And I like to show how you to really become successful in business.
Oh, Dagmar, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, because Dagmar, I don't know how many classes when I go and teach in finance, people saying, I'm looking for funding, I look for funding. I'm like, but you can't even be funded, because before you get funded, you must have a clear goal of what you want to do, how you're going to do it, what exactly are you going to do. People generally don't even know what activities they're going to be doing to achieve that. And I'm like, how is the funder going to fund you when you don't even have anything in place? So, and also there has been that connotation by people saying that I don't need a business plan, throw away a business plan. I like what you said at the beginning when you said, even when you don't actually intending to get funding, prepare a business plan, because it helps you to integrate different things at different level so that you can see a bigger picture of what you want to actually achieve. It's almost like your blueprint on how you intend to generate and run that business.
Yes, yes. It's also like an action plan. I'm just busy with setting up together with my fiancé another company. We don't need funding for it, but I've done the financial forecast, and I covered most of the topics out of the business plan, and we are absolutely clear also our sales strategy, who's our target market, what is our costing, what is our pricing, and it helps me also to focus really on the most important things. Okay, So next one is the market. What we do in our business plan is number one is every 3 months we update the South African economy because we are here in South Africa and dealing in this environment. I always recommend also have wherever industry your company is in, do some research about this industry. It depends on which industry you are and depends on also your location. It can be sometimes a little bit difficult to find data here in South Africa, but then if you are in Mpumalanga and you want to do there, I don't know, I'm just guessing, maybe something regarding mining, see how many mines there are, and have a look at your competitors. If you can't find anything, then you go a little bit further away and have a look at whole South Africa.
Tell me something, Dagmar, while you are talking about the marketing research, which platforms do you know of where entrepreneurs can go for some sort of information other than Stats SA, other than I think it's human HRCS, I think.
Yeah. So what we have
CSIR, right? I think those are the research, but even there, I generally find the information not helping for business decisions. It's too generic.
Yes, I know that. I don't know which website my team is using. We are paying for using the research on this specific website each and every month. So to have access to great data. I can share that with you. I will ask them which one they are using. And I think if you are a student, if I remember that correctly, you even can use that free of charge.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, that is good because that can help them at least to know, even if they need to pay, where to go. And people like me who are teachers, whom we generally need a live information to understand what is happening in different sectors and industry, we might actually consider that as a portal for that information.
Yes. Okay. So, and then if you have some statistics, see what Statistics SA is offering. If the end users are your target market, have a look at the living standard measurements. If there are enough people in your area, they are able to pay for your service or products. Because it makes no sense to offer a high-end, I don't know, boutique in an area where people are can't afford that. So it always needs to be realistic. And yes, I also always think it makes no sense here in South Africa and Durban to sell the warm boots and the warm jackets because we have here nice warm weather all year round. If you are in Johannesburg, it makes sense to have also shops where you sell these warm gloves and everything. You don't need them here in Durban, yeah? So you always need to make sure whatever product or service you offer that there is a demand in your area, and it has something to do, of course, with the financial possibilities of the people living there, but of course also all the other aspects of weather or, I don't know, yes, maybe selling a refrigerator in the Antarctic is maybe a little bit more difficult because they don't need it. Yeah?
Yep.
So let's see. Now we target market. I think we went a little bit, that's one of the topics under the market. We talked a little bit about it, that you need to be 100% clear on who are your customers. And if it is a B2B business, you should be even able to mention names. And if it is a B2B business, you then should be able also to get off-take agreements. This is what financiers want to see. Yeah. If you are, let's say, in the hospitality industry, then you need to have under target market also a clear understanding who are your customers. Let's say you're concentrating on families. And then maybe it makes no sense to have in one of these hip areas in Johannesburg a restaurant for families because there are no families. Yeah. So always be absolutely clear of who is your target market and who is living in your area, so that it makes sense for you and for the financier.
Great. I like that it's not just so much about just providing a market research, but it's going deeper to say in that environment, who am I targeting, their affordability, what is their need, which I generally say to entrepreneurs, you don't want a customer that's going to buy once from you. If the customer is going to buy once from you, then you must be able to upsell to that customer. So it's about understanding how many times does that customer buy from me and how do I fulfill their needs. Great work.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dagmar.
Yeah, okay. What I also would like to mention is lots of people and entrepreneurs see the financiers more like an enemy. Yeah, so they are on your side. They are experienced. They know exactly what business is working because they have all the statistics. They are dealing with it day to day. And if they say, I'm concerned because your macadamia nuts, the price at the moment is so volatile, please don't do that. Just trust them that they are really serious. They protect themselves, but what's most important for you, they protect you. As an applicant, because they will be able, out of their data, they are so much in this industry, they know exactly what's happening. There are so many people, Land Bank has so many potato farmers, they know exactly what the problems are at the moment. Yeah. And when there is, out of a sudden, all the Jojos and Nunus are eating now the potatoes because of the weather, then they will be able to tell you, please don't do that at the moment, and please do listen to them. Yeah? Okay. And they are not your enemies, they are on your side.
I know there has been that, I think, because entrepreneurs have got so much rejection from funders, there has been some sort of a backslashing of saying that, you know what, they don't want to fund us. They actually want to keep the money, whereas actually the funder wants you to because they make money from giving money away. And I know even National Treasury usually get the money back from these institutions that are developmental because there is no business to fund.
Yes. Yeah. And it's just because what I always say, money is usually never ever the problem. When your business idea is so great, when your business is so well thought through that when somebody gives you the money today, you can start tomorrow immediately, then it will be an easy ride to raise finance. Okay? I've seen that so many times also that I've done a business plan for somebody who had some great ideas. I guided them. We made sure that they have covered everything nicely. Out of a sudden, people in their environment, friends, family, acquaintances said, when they presented the business plan, I said, I like that idea so much, I invest in you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah? So it is not unusual that as soon as you have thought this really in detail through, that you will then be easily able to raise finance. When you have some hurdles, that means that there are some things you haven't really thought about it. So I always recommend listen to whatever other people say, and sometimes it's nonsense. Do I agree? Yes. But sometimes you also can say, Precious, you know that, somebody, really, this is what you want to do? I think that's not the right thing for you.
I know, I've had so many stories and I'm like, this is not even sustainable. I can't even put a 10 cent on it.
That's why I always say it needs to be easy and simple, the business idea, so that you can convince somebody quickly and they say, hey, you thought really about everything. You even have customers, you know exactly where you need the equipment. And it will generate, I don't know, in the second month already 100, 200, 300,000 Rand of turnover. Great. Yeah. And the other thing is not each and every great business idea is fundable. Yeah, some of them financiers will just not touch it because there are too many red flags for them. They, of course, want to be 100%. They would love to be 100% sure that you can repay the loan, but they usually need to be happy with 90%.
Dagmar, tell me something. Which businesses you have found that you know that the funders are not touching at the moment? To actually fund. I know professional services, it's one of them, if I'm not mistaken. They generally will say, no, we will not touch that. I have seen that property, luxury related product also, they have come through, like if you want to do things like entertainment based business, they will generally not touch. Which other sectors you have picked up that you've seen that they are not picking up?
Okay, so usually whatever has to do with a weapon, with alcohol, with prostitution or anything illegal is usually difficult for most of the financiers. Okay, so liquor shops and wholesale winery or something like this is a little bit challenging. Also, even manufacturing of weapons can be challenging, but definitely every retail shop for weapons, you will not be able to raise any finance from the government institutions. Okay, we are not talking here about commercial, private investors. What is always difficult are any service related, like beauty salons can be challenging, and hairdressing, and consulting. And let's be honest, if you want to be a consultant, I personally think that's the best business to be in there. In any case, your monthly expenses can be really, really low in the beginning, and you can grow if you charge properly, and then out of your profit, then go into offices and hire people. Yeah, so you don't really, and keep always in mind, applying for finance means always you each and every month at the end of the month, I've done that in my life, you have sleepless nights because you don't know how to repay the loan. Okay, because out of a sudden it's not working and it needs to be on a specific day. You can't just say, okay, they pay me 3 days later and then I can pay. And also keep in mind, South Africa has high interest rate in comparison definitely to Europe. So money here in South Africa is more expensive and you need to use it wisely. That's also one of the reasons why you shouldn't invest in the beginning in brick and mortar. Yeah.
Great. Please go ahead.
Okay, so let's see. Competitors. You need to have a list, please, of competitors. I don't want to read in any business plan, I don't have any competitors. If you don't have any competitors, I assume there is no market. Please go home.
I know, I've had so many pitch where someone says, there's no one who's doing this in the market. I'm like, what? And what I actually find, upset is that they don't realize that there is an alternative. It's almost like there is no one else who is making Coke. But guess what? The alternative, which in this case, if Coke was not producing Fanta, Fanta is a competition to Coke. Water is a competition. Tea is a competition to Coke because it serves the same need. So people do not go in more detail and analyze Where else are my customers serving this need? But they rush and say, I'm the first in the market. No one is doing this in the market. Oh, that's just get me crazy.
Yeah, me too. I always need to laugh, and let's be honest. Are there some, how is it called, interruptive new ideas out there? Yes, there are.
Absolutely, yes. But even on there, when it's disruptive, when it's disruptive, it changes the processes, it changes how things were done, but things are still being done. Because when you say there's no one who's doing it in the market, and yes, it could be disruptive because maybe we are faster, maybe we have a higher reach, maybe, and so on. But you still need to understand that the growth is going to be led by the demand, not the other way around.
Yeah, and if you are a serial entrepreneur, you build a couple of businesses before, you know exactly what you are doing, you have access to venture capital, you have the enough capital on your side so that you can teach the market like Airbnb and Uber how to use it, then it's the right way to do. If it is your first business startup, what I learned, what was also something what was never ever really clear to me. Use that you can choose the industry, you can choose your ideal client you really love to work with, because you are now starting really from scratch, and you can make it that it fits your lifestyle. Maybe you are a mom and you have some kids and you only want to work for hours. You can do that and set your business up for this.
Dagmar, can you go more in detail into that? Because I think one of the biggest mistakes I had made in my business, in some of the businesses that I failed in, was choosing business which did not match the lifestyle, which did not match my personality, which did not match what I actually stand for in terms of the values. Because people think selling or running a business is purely about selling, whereas the business takes more than just selling. It takes your entire livelihood, how you think, how you build yourself up, that you must be in it for a long haul. It's not a 7 months or 6 years. It's 30, 50 years investment.
Yes, Precious, I totally agree. And I also think because people are buying from people, okay, it makes no sense. I would send out now somebody else and tell them, go to Boxer, go to Pick and Pay, get me some off-take agreements. They maybe think this person is absolutely great. Then I go there and they say, who is that? Okay, so it's always about personal relationships. So that means your personality needs to fit what you really want to do. You need to be able to stand for it. You need to have the expertise. And that's something also what was only later on in my life, what I thought. I was stupid always. I started lots of businesses and I just thought there's a market, there's need, but I wasn't emotionally involved and happy. I don't know how to other way explain that, with what I'm offering, you know? So now,
same with me, same. I hear you. I understand. I started a business which was selling perfume. I love perfume. I still today, I invest a lot of money on just, I love perfume. However, it's a lifestyle product. I'm a person who, I can win being a Johannesburg North, women and have the nice hair and all that, but it's not my core. It's not in my values. So I then will look at these women and think, you're gonna spend 30,000 rand just on that? And I can't be like that if I'm in that market. You have to understand the product that you are selling. What is it? Is it a lifestyle? Is that the lifestyle you want to live? Is that how you actually are as a person? And those are the mistakes that I didn't know about. And by the way, Dagmar, these are the mistakes that are not on the textbooks and business books. that says, as an entrepreneur, you have to match your personality, who you are as a person, your values into the business so that your business is successful.
Yeah, yeah. I remember a friend of mine in Germany, she wanted to start her own business, and that were coffee shops, okay? And then we also, when we developed that, we said, okay, so when do you really want to work? And she said, I would prefer only Monday to Friday. I said, okay, so then your locations need to be in some locations where there are lots of offices. Okay, because then she started at 7 o'clock, she closed at 5 o'clock, all the people in this area went home, there was no Saturday, no Sunday. It absolutely suited her lifestyle. Yeah, so because that's the beauty. You can decide. If you say, I love to work at night, I want to be in a pub, great. Then you have something where you're more open for evening, or you open a bar or something like this if you want to be in hospitality. And this is something what you can do with each and every business idea you have. You can just think about, okay, what suits me best? And you can create it around that. Yeah?
Great. Thank you, Dagmar. That is wonderful. That's a great example.
Okay, so now we come to the SWOT analysis. I'm a little bit torn how important that is. I think it is blown usually up too much, usually in business plans. What you should think about is the strength and the weaknesses, and this is in relation to your business, okay? And the opportunities and the threats are in relation to the industry and market you are in. And it just should show you that you are aware of these things. Please always make sure that there are some weaknesses, okay? Each and every business has some weaknesses. Of course, put more emphasis on your strengths. Threats are usually here in South Africa, if you want to import something, would be a volatile rand exchange rate. And that the financier wants to see that you thought about it and that you're aware of it. Yeah, that's all. It's not because you mentioned there now, if there are now threats, I don't know, like in Malawi or Zimbabwe, where it is really difficult to even apply for a loan. The inflation rate is absolutely crazy and ridiculous. So you need to be able to manage this risk. Yeah, so if you are working only in this country, then that's fine because everybody has the same inflation rate. If you need to import something or you want to export, then it can become a little bit more difficult, and then it definitely needs to be handled and managed properly. Yeah. So strengths, weaknesses is what is all about your business. Opportunities and threats is for your industry, and it also will affect your competitors. Yeah? Are there any questions to that? Let me quickly see. Oh, Tabang is asking here. How do I know? Oh, okay. Tabang doesn't want to ask the question anymore. Okay.
No, I just answered it. Please read the question because I have answered it, but it's better for when both of us are doing. His question is that, how do I know if my competitors are growing or dwindling? Can you also expand on the examples of direct and indirect competition? So my answer was to him, so that I can share with everyone, is that you have to do market research, Tabang. And you can get market research from industry journal, trade publications. Also look at the banks. Each bank generally focuses on certain sectors. They release some of the information quarterly. You should also consider what we discussed earlier, going to the actually market research companies. Then you can subscribe to pay for that research. Guys, there's another place also, auditing firms. I know Deloitte and Touche and PricewaterhouseCoopers used to actually release quite a lot of industry-related publications. So
Yes.
look at them, look at what they're actually doing. Another place of doing the research, guys, this one is a gold for me. Because I'm in professional services and I don't have a lot of time to do a research, I'm a small business. I go to universities, the top 5 universities that produce MBA, and look at the MBA research relating to supporting SMMEs. But that is only just for me in my industry as a service provider who help SMMEs to see, and they generally don't have a big sampling. So they will have like 50 to 20, but that's still good enough to help me to refine my products and services so that I actually can be able to twinkle things there and there in how I offer and how I sell it. So you're gonna have to be on the ground, and that is why it's important to focus on your niche. The more niche you are, the more you're going to understand where do I find information relating to my clients, who releases that information, who's the publisher of that industry, and what role do they play in the industry. Professional bodies also can assist you in collecting information on market research. Following your top 5 leaders of the GSE in your industry can also help you to collect the information in updating your SWOT analysis. So I'm of the view that there is a lot of platform. It's just that, are you aware of what information to collect? Because it's one thing to know the publication but also understanding what exactly do I need to know and understand. And if you are struggling with that, which means you need to go back to the drawing board of a strategy, where you're going to need to understand, do your personal analysis, knowing what are the political environment, what are the environmental issues, socio-economic, and all. How do those things impact my SWOT analysis? So that you are able then to say, okay, I take this way, I take this way, or I work on this, and so on. So I'm of a view that, Thaba, you're going to have to maybe give us which industry you're in. We might actually be able to know some of those companies. The next question that was asked, Dagmar, was, can you also expand on the example of direct and indirect competition? Okay, so let me take the same example I was talking about. You have to be clear what your solution that you're bringing to the market, what problem does it solve? Let's take that example when I was talking about Coke. The problem that Coke solves is the thirst. When you drink the Coke or the Coke, for example, if I sell Coke, it actually conquers thirst. But you then need to ask yourself, what are other products that are being used currently by the customer without you being in the market? Because that's what we generally will call alternative. Look at how the customer is satisfying that need right now. Then come up with a solution that does more than what the current market is providing. And that is what we will then tell you and say, you now have found your unique selling proposition, because you now have something bigger than what is currently in there. So I'm of a view that indirect and direct competition, it's exactly that. Maybe, Dagmar, if you want to add or you want to take some of my answers, please, I'm an accountant, yeah, practitioner.
No, I think you Precious, you explained that clearly. So let's say Coca-Cola, the direct competition would be Pepsi-Cola, okay? But an indirect competition would be then maybe more Fanta or Lift or Sprite or something like this. Yeah. So it's all sweetened. It is all with Kohlensäure, bubbly, and yes, but the one is really the direct competition, like coffee. If you have a different coffee brands, that would be the direct competition. Tea would be an indirect competition.
Yep. And in the normal on transport industry, Uber is a direct competition to the maxi taxis, the private maxi taxis. indirect competition is a public transport, but it's still in the same market. It's just that the type of customer that does the Uber is not the same as the one that does the public transport. So indirect is, are you satisfying a similar, what are the similarities in that problem that you're solving?
Yes.
I hope I'm able to solve. Guys on Facebook, please pop in your questions. We're available. Dagmar is here and she has such a wealth of information. Please go ahead.
Okay, so we now covered the SWOT analysis. Let's go to sales and marketing. Okay. Sales
Dagmar, on the SWOT analysis, before you close on that, what have you found as the biggest mistakes that we make when we're doing a business plan on the SWOT analysis?
I personally think people, number one is either way they put too much emphasis on it, okay, or they don't really understand that. The template what we are busy with giving out has lots of questions, okay, to strength, to weakness, to opportunities, and then people are able to pick 3 under each of these topics.
Wow, let me share I have 48 questions, Dagmar. Let your team go through those and we can consolidate them together. Is that going to be okay? Because then we can share the 48, because when I did the strategy planning with some of the entrepreneurs, I end up creating these 48 questions because I felt exactly the same, that they were not asking the right questions. As a result, then they are not having the right answers.
Yes. And it's always the business strength is we have off-take agreements. The weakness is we are startups. Opportunities are again off-take agreements, and threats somebody else is stealing the off-take agreements. So don't. This is just for you to think about it. What is really our strength as a business? And what is the strength but also the threats of the industries we are in there? Don't overthink that. Don't overcomplicate. 3 topics each is absolutely sufficient.
Perfect. Yeah? Thank you.
Okay, so the next, sales and marketing. Let me quickly see. It should be clear. Number 1 is, to whom do you want to sell? Okay, do you sell to end users, to wholesalers, or to retailers? Because it's different strategies. Then you of course also have clear pricing. If you, I usually recommend as a startup only sell to one of these 3 I mentioned. Yeah. Sometimes it can make sense to do that to 2 or 3, but then you also need to make sure that you have target market 3 different or 2 different target markets, and that your marketing strategies are also accordingly, because selling to a retailer, the marketing strategy is definitely different than selling to an end user. Yeah.
Perfect. So you're saying try to have at least 3 target markets, and in each have a different strategy so that it's clear on how you're going to reach the market.
I would recommend have 1 only. As let's say you as a manufacturer, you only want to sell to wholesalers. It makes your whole life so much easier. You have 1 price, you have a clear list of wholesalers you will sell to, and you have also a clear marketing strategy. Wholesalers, where do you find them? The easiest way is via LinkedIn.
Perfect. Yeah? I so like that. I generally say to entrepreneurs that you have to choose where you want to be on the value chain. You can't be a distributor, a retailer, and a manufacturer, and you're just too many things.
Yeah.
Because if you choose all of them, you end up not actually redefining on how you will actually approach each of those to grow your business.
Yeah, think about what is the easiest way for you, always what suits you the best. If you have some contacts already directly to a wholesaler, I would always recommend go this way. If you have some contacts to retailers, go that way. Always think about what is the easiest and the fastest way for you to earn money. I'm always talking about lowest hanging fruits. Yeah, don't overcomplicate your business. Make it easy. It doesn't mean that you need to stuck to it and you're never ever allowed to sell to anybody else. It's just for the beginning. Establish yourself, have all the systems in place, and then you can say, okay, let's tackle the next market. Let me quickly, yes. So marketing strategies. I'm personally absolutely a fan of online marketing. I think it's the cheapest, the best return on investment. It's easy to measure. You know exactly how much money you spend, how much sales you get out of it. And even if you want to sell to wholesalers or to retailers, LinkedIn, it offers such great opportunities to target them directly, to talk to them. I would always do that first before I then go out and think about anything else. I'm not a fan of, when I studied, that was, let me quickly think, I think around about 25 years ago. And at my time, there was radio advertising, TV advertising, and newspaper. That were your options. Oh, and you could also do flyers, okay? But this is old school 25 years ago. Don't use them anymore. It is a waste of time. You can't measure. That's the beauty with all these online marketing. You can measure exactly. I spend 100 Rand a day. I'm getting, I don't know, 50 clicks, and I'm getting out of these 50 clicks 10 leads, and out of these 10 leads, I'm selling to 2 customers. Yeah? So you know exactly how much it costs you. You can scale it up. You put then out of a sudden 200 Rand into it, 500 Rand to it, and you know exactly how much you get out of it.
Tell me something, Dagmar. I love internet also. But I also have lost a lot of money on Google ads and Facebook ads. And have you found people who know exactly what they are doing in the market that do really seriously make money on this?
Yes.
Great.
We get out of every Rand what we spend. I started with Google advertising. We are going more a little bit to Facebook ads because Facebook is cheaper than Google. And we are getting, in my best days, I got out of each Rand 30 Rand sales. And I think I'm measuring each and every month. And I think last month, each of Rand we spent, we get out 8 Rand worth of sales.
Oh my goodness, wow. That is very good.
Yeah, so there are a couple of things. That's why I talked about it also when we went through is you need to have a clear offering. You need to know exactly what you offer. You need to have an absolutely clear target market. You need to have an ideal client so that you are not presenting your products to everybody, but really only to people where you assume that they need it. And then there are a couple of steps you just need to do to be then able to filter them through. There is one person in our business busy the half a day with weeding out the leads and really figuring out who fits into our profile and who really needs what we offer, but is also able to pay for what we offer. Everybody else gets free advice like we are doing here at the moment, and we are able to say, okay, if you use us, we charge, but at the moment, if you can't pay, go there, do this, so that we are also able and help everybody, whoever gets in contact with us.
Great. Guys, please, the ones that are on the webinar, go ahead, ask your questions in any of the things that you are talking about. I know people generally get confused when we start talking about marketing strategy and all those things. The marketing strategy is about how do you intend to reach your target market? How are you going to do it? When and what exactly are you going to do? And that's all market strategy is. And then from there, you will then have to have a sales strategy. Once you get them in the bag, those target market, how are you going to sell to them? How are you going to make sure that they take what you're offering? So that is now a sales strategy.
Yeah, it's really a full funnel. You find people, they get in contact with you, and it needs to be a close, really, you need to be close and following up all the time. And because I see that so many times that people have the leads, but they are not able to close the deal. And that's also something as an entrepreneur and as a startup, you need to learn how to close deals to be confident that whatever you offer will really help the other person.
Yeah. You know, the moment you're just saying that sometimes we run these adverts and then we do not necessarily make proper follow-up on the leads, then we end up, so the return on investment, you just gave me an idea. So I ran quite a lot of ads. As I told you, I lost a lot of money, but I did get some sort of people that had an interest and they left their contact details. We currently now are running a special. I can actually pull those leads and offer the stuff to them, to those people, because they've already shown an interest. Thank you so much, Dagmar. I get you. I get you.
Okay. So if you want to, we can do something similar like we do here today, also about just some marketing strategies. And I'm more than happy also to share what I learned over the last couple of years, what is working here in South Africa, what is not working. And even with a couple of, start with 10, 20 Rand a day and figure out what is working for you, and then you can scale it up. But I'm more than happy. We can do something like this. I think that would be fun.
That would be very fun. I think I would love that. So we're going to have another one where we will have a marketing strategy. Is it okay, Dagmar, if we have both marketing strategy on the same day and a market research? Because I think it feeds into one another.
Yes, we can do that. Yes. I will need to explain a couple of, it makes no sense for you to explain to you, set up a Facebook ad, get the leads, and then do this. There are a couple of steps you definitely need to do before you even start with Facebook ads. And market research is definitely a part of it.
Yes, yeah? Yes. You might saying, absolutely, she wants to have a marketing strategy webinar. So we're definitely going to have one. Thank you so much for offering, Dagmar. Great. Okay, so please go ahead.
Yes, what I like to mention here, what I see lots of times is that people say, okay, I want to do some billboards, but then their target market is, let's say, Toyota. Yeah, so because they want to manufacture something what Toyota needs to build their cars. A billboard makes no sense. It's absolutely a waste of time.
Oh my word, you are so right.
Yeah, whoever buys there and at Toyota and is responsible. So there are other ways, cheaper ways to really get in contact with them.
I think, Dagmar, is what I also always say to customers, to my clients, when I say, why would you print a flyer when you actually are doing it, you have a crash and you're printing the flyer? Who makes a decision looking at the flyer to choose the place where they send their children? I mean, people have to understand that different products will sell in different form of marketing and advertising. There's word of mouth, there's internet, there's a whole list. I think when we are covering marketing, we might actually have to come with that, because people just print flyers, whereas the buyer does not even look at the flyer to make a decision. So I really like that.
What you did 25 years ago when you had no internet. I was studying marketing, yes.
Great work.
Okay, so, and it is expensive, and lots of times we all know that. How many times did you receive a flyer? Did you ever look again on it? You usually empty your handbag and throw them away, and that's it. You know?
Definitely, that is true. That is true.
Okay. So I think I just wanted to say that with the billboard, because these are things I've seen, that somebody wants to do radio advertising, and I'm always thinking it makes no sense for your industry. That's why it is so important to be so clear about your target market, because out of a sudden you know exactly where you find these people.
With you.
Okay, so what did Wade do here? So marketing plan, he just offered a couple of possibilities, what you can do. I tried networking. You have no idea how many breakfasts in my life I had here in South Africa. It was absolutely a waste of time, waste of money. I was not able really to get to my potential customers. But you need to figure out, not every time, I also want to say that, online marketing, Facebook ads is the best way. But for most industries, it is the cheapest and best way. But you, of course, also have network marketing, trade shows. I know I've done that a couple of times also in Germany. I worked there for a consultancy, and we went to trade shows, and we knew exactly the relevant decision makers were on that trade show and exhibiting. So we were able to really get potential customers and got some clients from these trade shows. But you need to be clear about the target market. You need to know that they are there, and then it makes sense to go there. Otherwise, waste of time, waste of money. Okay.
I love that. Thank you so much about that. So I also think that entrepreneurs need to take each one and say what are the advantages and disadvantages around it. Because in South Africa, I have seen that the exhibition, the people that they send, the people that they send in some of the exhibitions are basically not decision makers. So understand who are the people that's gonna be there for you to actually even engage in doing. But I also have seen that in other instances, if you may go back to that slide, Dagmar.
Yes.
In other instances, I have also seen that, for example, the network that me and you met, we met about 3-4 years ago. It was just a coincidental, we're just guest speakers in that. So I actually have built better relationships where other colleagues are at the same length as me, and we're talking about similar issues. And we have kept our relationship going, even though I've referred to some clients. I know those clients has fallen off because it's people that were not really serious about what they're actually doing. So what I'm saying is that as an entrepreneur, what you should be looking at is not so much about the reach. It's about who's around me. Customers are already around you. And how can that person help me to reach my customer? Because I don't need to build a trust relationship anymore, because we build it from Billy, whom we both know as a commonality. So I don't need to go and check, can Dagmar do the work, you know? So you build your network in multi-layered. Don't try to build it just on one-to-one, because then your business is gonna take forever to actually build up. So try to figure out different ways, and when we are doing marketing plan and strategies, I will also share some of the ideas that I have picked up.
Yeah. There are always different ways of doing it, and I like to meet other consultants to be also able. If somebody comes to me and I'm not able to help them, I can then refer them to somebody else and say, hey, this is the right person. But what the marketing plan usually should do, you should get a couple of leads each and every day so that you have a constant flow of new potential customers each and every week and each and every month. Yeah, and this constant flow is definitely easy to do through online marketing. These networking are always nice. Hey, I'm getting invited for speaking gigs. I'm still going there, although maybe it doesn't give me any customer or client leads, but it's for me for fun and to meet other consultants. Because I like to grow all the time and I like to learn, and that's something what is interesting for me.
Great.
Okay, so management and staff. So number one is, I think what gets clear for everybody while we went here through this business plan so far, you need to be an expert in whatever you want to offer. Yeah. So please don't ask me to, I don't know, grow tomatoes. I don't have green thumbs. That's not going to happen, okay? I'm absolutely clueless. They will die. And it makes no sense for me. If you plan a little bit bigger, let's say you want to manufacture some chemicals or something like this. You can't be an expert in the financial director, the technical director, and the sales director. That's absolutely clear. Everybody is aware of it. You need then to decide what is your expertise in the whole setup. And then financiers usually expect that you then have already key personnel who does the mixing of the chemicals for you, you know who is the production manager there, or if you are, let's say, you're an expert on the sales side, and who will be able to manage your finances, that you have these experts already in place. Yeah. And I think when we went through this, you could see and understand that it is important that you have some expertise. You can't just always rely on mentorship and coaches or consultant. They do not run the business for you. It's you who runs the business. It's your responsibility. And there need to be parts of it where you are an expert. Otherwise, I would really get worried about the success of the whole setup.
Great,
yeah?
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. Financials. I try to find some easy financials so that we can also share that. It is not that easy if you are not really a numbers person. Even if you are a numbers person and you are a little bit clueless about what is in the cash flow, what is in the income statement, how does a balance sheet even look like, I personally always would recommend get some professional help there. Don't try that on your own, but we will share some templates what we found free online. Yeah?
Great. I also have quite few. I've tried also. I found that there are certain sectors where the income statement and balance sheet will need to be customized for specific sectors. Especially when you are trying to build up a business model that's going to feed into the income statement. So yeah, please guys, if you need some support, some help with that, let us know.
Yeah, okay, so and then at the end also I always explain to the financiers your financial assumption. Be again clear, how much funding do you need, for what do you need the funding. Then if you want to apply for finance, explain that you assume that it will be debt funding with the interest rate of, I usually assume 13% here at the moment in South Africa. Explain for how long you want to apply for the loan, so that financiers also understand your financial forecast and also can double check that your assumptions are really presented properly in the financial forecast.
Okay, Dagmar, this webinar that you are doing today can take a whole day on this one. Can we put this one also as one of the things that we're going to work on, dealing with the issues relating to cash flow and how to then also build up the financing strategies? Because I have found that sometimes entrepreneurs, they are not being specific enough on what do they need the funding for. As a result, they just put the total amount of whatever that they're looking for. But when you start analyzing it, it's a working capital, which then means it's a cash flow issue, which then means they need to be analyzing their terms and conditions. But then when it's a capex, that's an asset financing, and that has a total different packs and arrangement all together. So please, Dagmar, if you can join us on that discussion when we are talking about building up a financial strategies on how to fund your business, because you can find it using different methods and approach, including equity funding.
Okay. Yes, I think also I just had this one page here. Please, like Precious said, you need to be absolutely clear. I need for equipment 100,000 rand, for let's say property 2 million rand, for the building another 500,000 rand, for working capital 100,000 rand. You need to be absolutely clear about it, because it will have an effect on your cash flow, on your depreciation, on your balance sheet. And I didn't want to go into any details here because, like you said, that's a day's workshop at the end of the day. Yeah. Okay, so what I definitely wanted to do is I just wanted to give you all my contact details. Use the email address here, admin@fundingconnection.coza. If you want to learn a little bit more about us, www.fundingconnection.coza is our website. As soon as I have my template ready here, I will definitely share that also with Precious, because she has the list of all the people who signed up here. Yes, and if you're on my website, on my Facebook page, you have definitely already my details. And I will then also share Precious details on my Facebook page. So if somebody needs some help from you, she can also do that.
Dagmar, can you please go through your offering on your product? Because I think sometimes people, when they think about, I'm going to do a business plan, it's going to cost me 30,000 rand. You have built such a vibrant team to be able to actually, within few days, come up with a business plan, because you have been doing this for years. Please share that for us and just give us how long the process takes, and also talk to us about who are the funders right now? Where should the entrepreneurs be thinking about? What are the in-fundable projects that government is looking for versus what the private sector is looking for? And I know you have a huge database of that information also that even tells you which sectors. Please take us through that.
Okay, so I don't want to overwhelm you here at the moment. So let me explain our process, how it works. We usually listen to what you want to do and talk about your venture. How much funding do you need? What product or service do you want to offer? And also for what you need the capital. With this information, we are already able to tell you, yes, it is fundable. Some of the financiers will take that on. We are also absolutely clear already at that stage before even drafting the business plan, and will be able to tell you your chances are just too small. We don't even want to take it on. Yeah, because I want to have happy customers, and happy customers means that they have a great business plan, and that at the end of the day they are able to apply for finance and don't hear, oh no, we don't even finance things like this. Yeah. Then you have the possibility, we have on our website officially out there 3 different business plans. One is for usually investment up to 1 million rand. We charge 5,900 rand for this. The other one is up to investments to 5 million rand. We charge 9,900. And the premium business plan is up to 10 million rand, and we charge 15,900.
Oh, wow.
Over 10 million rand, I'd like to know exactly your product and service, the complexity of your business, to be then able to give you also a fair price. Sometimes somebody says, hey, I need 20, 30 million, but the processes, you know exactly now what needs to be in the business plan. It's straightforward and easy, not too complex. You then still get your business plan for the premium price, or but you want to do now 5, 6, 7 different offerings in even different industry, and you insist on doing it. Then we of course need to charge more, because then product description, pricing, costing needs to be then done 5, 6, 7 times. Market research is for different target markets needs to be done, and then we of course charge a little bit more.
Great. Guys, any question we have attendees that are on the webinar and those on Facebook, please ask any question. We're about to wrap up. Dagmar, you have been absolutely wonderful. We'll be sharing some of the notes that we took, and we'll be taking you up on that marketing strategy. Yuma is already quite interested. What we're also going to do, we're going to email them this presentation that we have done, so that they can actually so you will email that to Sonda so that we can send it to everyone.
Yes, I know, I'm not too sure there is some specific online software where we can upload it, because I'm not too sure how many megabytes that one is here, the presentation. And then you just need to send a link out to people, and they can then have a look there online. Is this okay for you? I think that's the easiest way.
That is more than fine. My team will be able to do that. That's how we generally said. But it's not that big. It's just that maybe it's got colors and stuff, the images.
Yeah,
but other than that, Dagmar, is anything that you would like to share? Guys, go to her website. You will get so much information in there, and you can then also start working through. She even has some questions on how to start on the business plan. She's running several things online, cheap. Guys, doing a business plan is not, and getting the money is not easy. What is not what we fail is taking action and continuously not giving up. Don't listen to people saying that there's no funds, there's no funders out there. They are definitely out there. You just need to get your ducks on the row. Be willing to say, you know what, I don't know enough about this business. Maybe someone can review it on my behalf. And Dagmar has been doing this for years to actually be able to give you some insight on how you can actually grow your business. Thank you so much, guys. I don't know, Dagmar, do you have anything in closing?
No.
Okay, there are pages, there are questions that have been asked. What are the requirements for doing my business plan?
Tabang, I would like to, let me quickly, what I will do is I give you my email address. It's admin@fundingconnection.coza. Okay, explain to Cindy what you want to do. And then she will definitely be able to tell you, yes, okay, this is possible. Like I said, we are straightforward if we think your chances are too small. And then we just take it from there. The other person asked how many pages. Please, usually I personally say 15 to 20 pages for a smaller project is absolutely sufficient. It's not about the pages, it's about the content. Yeah. Keep in mind, the financier is interested in what product do you offer, how much funding do you need, for what exactly do you need the funding, and are you able to pay it back? These are the 4 questions he asks. Yeah. And the challenge for most entrepreneurs is that they are so much in love with their product and service that they totally forget that this is not a hobby, it's a business. Yeah. So, and that you need to show how you are able to repay the loan and how you are able to generate an income.
True. No, that is good. That is good. Thabang, if you need any further support, let us know. You can send us just a brief also of which industry you are in and business, because as we said earlier, not all businesses are fundable. Not all businesses actually will qualify for funding. So if you are, for example, in professional services, you might actually think about having a credit card than actually applying for funding, because the nature of your business is not generally fundable.
Yeah, but that's also something what we will definitely quickly be able then to find out, because each of these funds has 20 pages rules and regulations. And I also teach my team what is fundable and what is not fundable, and they still sometimes are then wrong because they forgot one or two of these aspects, where I then know exactly, oh no, that's not possible, oh no, but because of this, that is possible. Yeah, that's why I usually don't like to generalize and really like to talk and see, okay, let's see what we can do there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. You have been such a great presenter, Dagmar. We appreciate you. I hope everything goes well with you. We shall be collaborating in more things going forward, like and try to build up. We will be going also on other programs. We're introducing few products in relation to performance, and I know you can actually add a huge value for us. Thank you so much, Dagmar.
Thanks very much, Precious. I absolutely love these things, to share my knowledge and help other people to grow and start their business. And I'm excited then also to do the next ones together. And yes, and then we just take it from there.
Great. Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, take care. Bye.